Welcome back to the catch up here on Cris Cyborg's YouTube channel. I am James Lynch. That is not Cris Cyborg. I'm joined by the former Bellator Featherweight champion, Julia Budd. Julia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing awesome. Good to talk to you. It's been a bit. Great win, by the way, a couple weeks ago. We'll get into that in a second. But before we do that, got to remind our audience, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We really appreciate the support. Of course, Cris is preparing for her fight against Leslie Smith. So we're going to be doing the co-hosting duties for guest co-hosting duties for the next couple of weeks. But I wanted to start first, actually, Julia, with UFC 261. Just a crazy card. We had fans back. We had a lot of interesting fights. Just your thoughts on the card, just with seeing the fans back and everything. I'm sure you caught a bit of it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was one of the best UFC cards I've seen potentially ever. It was incredible. And both girl fights was obviously, those were my favorite fights, and seeing them just do absolutely, like, it was awesome. They did so amazing. So yeah, it was a really good card.
Yeah, it was cool to watch. Why don't we start with the women's fights first? The co-main event, Rose Namajunas knocking out Weili Zhang. I actually picked Rose to win, but I didn't think she'd knock out Weili Zhang in the first round. How surprised were you that she landed that head kick and then obviously went for the finish?
Well, I think it was a lot quicker than I expected, but I actually had her winning as well. Like, we were just talking about it earlier that day, and I was like, I have a feeling Rose is going to pull it off. And they're both such incredible martial artists, but yeah, it was quick too. I was a bit surprised at how fast it was.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do next, but I mean, just a great fight. And good to see Rose get that, the spotlight as well. I know she's had to overcome a lot. She had some issues with COVID. I know a family member had passed away through that. She's obviously had the stuff with Conor McGregor, and there's just been a lot sort of leading up to that. So it was good to see her get the win there. We also had Valentina Shevchenko get the finish over Jessica Andrade. How impressive was that to take out a really tough fighter in Jessica Andrade?
So impressive, and she just shows how well-rounded she is. Like, her striking's a problem, her grappling's a problem, her wrestling, like everything. The takedowns were so good. She was so dominant there, and even what Jessica said, which is it kind of caught her off guard how much she was wrestling right from the start, and it was just so good. Yeah, super dominant.
And then we're going in reverse order here. Usman getting the knockout over Jorge Masvidal. Again, I think most people thought Usman was going to win. He was like a 4-1 favorite. But to see him finish Masvidal in the second round, I think that was one of his best performances. What did you think?
Me too. Absolutely. I think he's just getting better and better and better. It's pretty cool watching him right from the start. I've been a fan.
Yeah, no, it's been great. And then sort of last thing, I don't know if I've ever seen this or you've ever seen this before. I've never seen back-to-back injuries on a card that were that brutal, right? Jimmy Crute with his foot, and then Chris Weidman obviously breaking his leg as well. I mean, I don't know how you are, but I can't watch bone breaks. It's really gruesome for me.
I close my eyes. I still kind of just, like, even when I look at the picture, I have to look away. It's so disturbing. And then just the fact that it was Anderson before that, and then seeing it was like,
I know
that, and made me feel sick.
Yeah. Speedy recovery to Chris and to Jimmy Crute as well. Not good injuries to have there. But let's talk about you, Julia. Another good win coming off that win over Bellator 257 back on April 16th. It was a split decision. How confident were you that you had the win there? Because you never know with the judging, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there was some kind of, so I was happy that I got the win. Obviously, I wanted to finish the fight and do better, but it was like I really wanted to finish that fight, and so I was happy that I got the win, but at the same time, it was like mixed emotions a bit.
Right. Do you think because you went for the finish, maybe it was a bit closer than it needed to be? Like, had you had a different strategy, do you think maybe it would have been a little bit easier on the judges? I don't know. What was your just overall thoughts on the fight?
Well, I think that I didn't do, like, the thing was, I thought I won the first and the second round. I knew I had won those 2 rounds, but the third round, I kind of hurt I had an injury going into the fight, and I hurt it in the second round, and then I kind of the third round I was more tentative, and that was the round that I figured they might have given to her. But I was definitely happy that I won, and for us both, like Lance Gibson Jr. fought earlier that night.
Oh yeah.
For us both to come out with the win going there, we knew we had a lot on our plate, but it was just overall a great feeling for my family.
No, it was awesome to see, especially, like I said, it's kind of a package deal these days if you can try and fight with you and Lance at the same time, which is awesome. I don't know if you want to reveal the injury or not. It's totally your call, but how much better did you feel getting the win, knowing you overcame that mid-fight and had to make the adjustments?
Yeah, it was good. It's like, I had 10 stitches on the outside of my left foot. Okay. And basically, so I was wrestling in the beginning of the camp. Well, not the beginning, like midway through in the second week of March. And I cut, my foot went through the cage and cut off like the side of my foot.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah. So the rest of the camp, so it started to heal properly with the stitches and stuff. And then I got a staph infection in it.
Oh, no.
So then I was on antibiotics, and I was like, and so it's still not even sealed, like fully, but it's, it was a pretty gruesome injury. And then it just stopped me from being able to like wrestle, kick, and run. And those are kind of like so going into it, we were like, should we pull out? Shouldn't we? But with everything with the quarantine and how Canada's getting stricter and stricter, we were worried that I might not be able to get a fight again for a long time. And I need this. So it was kind of like this weighing out.
High risk, high reward, right? I guess. Like, and I mean, it worked out for you. That's great. But yeah.
Yeah. But it definitely affected my training for it and just my overall like game plan going into it because, but anyways, I'm glad I overcame it. It was amazing. And then also like Junior in the fight got the eye poke and he also totally dislocated his foot during his fight. So it was kind of, we both feel like we overcame,
a lot. No, I know. I remember him posting the x-ray, I think, after the fight, because I remember on Facebook he posted something. So that's crazy. All the power to you guys for going out there and getting the win. We didn't have a chance to speak, and I actually didn't get a chance to speak to Lance either prior to the fight. How was your camp? Because I know, like here in BC, I know I'm still able to go to the gym. I can wear a mask, but how were the restrictions with you, heading into that fight?
It's been difficult. The police are at our gym. Like the last spar, the police are there banging on the door, just kind of like they're doing their job because people are reporting us for training and for professional athletes are allowed to train. That was kind of like we're training for a fight. This is our last sparring session. And the police are there kind of like, okay, this has got to stop and you guys can't be doing this. There's neighbors that are reporting you guys. So it's been brutal, to be honest. Like for the last year being a gym owner in British Columbia, it's been really rough and tons of restrictions. And we're just kind of following the restrictions, obviously, and the social distancing, the mask, the minimum people in there and doing their own workouts. But it's been definitely a tough thing to juggle throughout this period of time, for sure.
And I guess it's not like you can just jump and go to a different camp like in the States, because then you'd have to quarantine, right? Like it wouldn't work out very well, I'm assuming, right? Is that something you've thought of?
Exactly. So we were talking about that a little bit, but it's just like with everything and again, it's like weighing everything out, right? Like what should we do? Should we shut the doors completely, do something completely private? But it's we're just really grateful that we got the opportunity to fight for Bellator and do this together as a family and and come out with the wins. It's definitely, it was amazing. So
now, in terms of you and, obviously your foot and everything, when would be like an ideal time to have your next fight? Have you thought about that yet?
Well, my foot now, probably like it's more healed now after my fight. So I feel great. Like other than that, my body feels great. I feel mentally ready to go. So I'd love to get in there very soon, but obviously I want that, title rematch with Cris Cyborg.
Right.
I want that. And I got to kind of sit back and watch her fight Leslie, see how that plays out. But it's something that I definitely want, and I want to stay active and stay busy. So that's kind of, right now I'm a free agent. That was my last fight on my Bellator contract. And going forward, I obviously want to stay with the Bellator family, but I want to have a conversation about kind of game plan about when that title shot could happen and that rematch and,
Okay. No, I totally get it. And I think the rematch has to happen, right? In the sense, and this is someone who's doing this show with Chris who says this, but I mean, the fact that you were the champion for so long and then, just lost your title, you fought, it's what, 2 fights now that you've had since then, I think, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. 2 fights, 2 wins, and I'm willing to fight more if I don't want to be busy or I want to get the title shot. It's one or the other. And, but yeah, I want to stay active and stay busy. And this is kind of the conversations that we need to be having.
Is there have you spoken to Bellator recently? Do you have any idea when you might talk to them about this possibility? Because I think most would agree that you would be next for Smith and Cyborg.
Yeah. So I think that we're just waiting on a phone call. Waiting to hear from what their plan is and what that next step is. I think they're kind of waiting to see how that fight plays out on the 21st and probably hear about it sometime in the meantime or after that. So.
Yeah. And just to clear this up, not this would ever be a possibility, but like you would not go to the UFC and fight at 135, right? You're a 45er. Am I right?
45er. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Just so people were like, what if she goes to the UFC? She's a free agent. But yeah, just because obviously featherweight's looking a little grim over there in the UFC. Yeah. I don't know if you saw what happened, right? So
definitely. And Bellator is like, I helped build the 145 pound division.
Exactly.
I'm pioneer in that. I've been with them for 7 years, so staying and being part of that family is something that I definitely want to do, but it's got to make sense for me in my career at this stage of my life. So
There you go. Okay, well, glad to hear that. Just wanted to clarify that again, just to get the word out there that everyone, Julia's happy with Bellator. There we go. So normally on this show, Chris and I do like a Portuguese saying of the week. I mean, we both are Canadian. We both live in the same province. One thing I wanted to ask you is that, in Canada, winter hats are called toques. I wanted to know, does Lance and Lance Jr. also call them toques? Because I know they're American. So do they sort of think like toque or beanie? What do they call it?
You know what? Because Lance Jr.'s dual citizen, he actually calls it a beanie.
Okay, good. See, this is why I asked. I was curious about that. So there we go. So do you have to, when you say toque, does he give you a funny look or what happens?
Well, I think he's used to it now. He's been here long enough, but he still calls it beanie.
Yeah.
And Lance Sr. called it a toque. So.
Okay, well, there you go. So the toques outnumber the beanies there. Just wanted to clarify that as well. Before we go, how are your dogs doing? I always check out the photos on Instagram. Seems like we're very animal friendly here on the Cris Cyborg Catch-Up Show.
Oh, they're awesome. And we just got our bees. That was we just got my honeybees in. So I've been busy doing that as well. Enjoying the quarantine and just kind of hanging out with the pups and yeah.
That's good. So what? Yeah. So are you still in quarantine right now? Like, what's the deal with that? Because I guess when you came back, you had to quarantine as well, right?
Still in quarantine. I think I got like 6 more days or something like that.
Really?
So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, because it is a while. Because that's part of the reason I haven't gone to the States since 2019 is because I don't have to quarantine. I'd be away from my son for like a month. It'd be crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's still a 2-week quarantine. We got an exemption letter from Bellator, but it kind of doesn't matter up here.
Bonnie Hendry, she runs a tight ship, right? So
Exactly. So.
Okay, fair enough. So what have you been doing? I'm sure, because you're a gym rat. Like you're in there all the time. So I'm sure like what are you doing with your time?
We're training still, but just obviously on the property, not leaving the property. And I got my bees in. So I'm kind of just getting them settled and hanging out with my pups and my family. So.
Love it. Julia, thanks so much for doing this. Always great catching up with you. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs, I'll give you the floor here.
Yeah, Champion Jewel. You can follow me on Instagram or Julia Budd at Twitter and on Facebook. And I just want to give a shout out to my sponsors, the Gibson's Butcher, who were amazing this training camp, Apollo Sheet Metal, Strike Recovery, and obviously Gibson MMA.
Awesome. And before you guys go, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We do the show every week. It's the catch up. We're going to have a rotating guest host every single week leading up to Chris's fight. Make sure you go to CrisCyborg.com and get the premium service for less than a cup of coffee. You get exclusive access to stuff that Chris is doing behind the scenes. Even Julia, you might want to do that. Get some training camp secrets. We'll see what's going on there. But there you go. I'm James Lynch. She is Julia Budd. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.